Call the meeting to order. If everybody could rise for the Lord's Prayer. In the name of the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit, amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councillor Caulfield?
Here.
Councillor Donahue?
Here.
Councillor Elliott?
Here.
Mayor Martin?
Here.
Councillor Armand Mercia?
Here.
Councillor Rita Mercia?
Here.
Councillor Milanazzo?
Here.
Councillor Ramirez?
Here.
Councillor Broderick?
Here.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, this is a special meeting of the City Council for the purpose of conducting interviewees for the position of City Auditor. There are 4 candidates to be interviewed tonight. Karen Kukela, Warren Sproul, Cheryl Wright, and Judith Hoppin. The clerk selected that order to begin the interviews, I think in the same manner by random lot as was done for city manager candidates. However, I think not all the candidates have arrived yet. I believe only items numbers 3 and 4 are here right now. Councilor Donahue.
You mean people
Thank you,
aren't on
Mr. Mayor.
time?
I would make a motion that we interview the candidate, start the interviews with the candidate who's here, who's on the list in the order that was drawn.
Okay.
Second.
Second by Councilor Armand Mercier. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Any opposed? So that's how we'll begin. I did want to just inquire as to how we should begin or how we're going to question, in the order of questioning. Councilor Caulfield's first in the roll call tonight, and so I think at least for the first candidate, we'd begin with him and go down the line. My question is, would the next candidate start with Councilor Donahue, or one suggestion I had was maybe to go every other councilor to begin. That way everybody gets to be first or second, or almost everybody gets to be first or second.
Whatever way you'd like to do it.
Motion to proceed as Mayor discussed.
We'll leave it to the chair.
All right, so I guess I could recognize people. So why don't, Councilor Caulfield, you'll begin the questioning for the first candidate. Councilor Elliott will begin for the second candidate. Councilor Rita Mercy will begin for the third candidate. Councilor Ramirez would begin for the fourth candidate. So that way everybody is either first or second.
Mr. Mayor, just I would respect everyone 5 minutes or less, and once they have their interview, that's the end of the interview. They can't go back and ask questions. So.
Okay. If I could ask, Madam Clerk, if you would just, the interviewees are waiting in my office, if you could get the first one on the list who is here and bring them down. Councilor Rita Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. While you, the Assistant City Clerk is going to get the first person to be interviewed, which happens to be the third on the list, did these candidates get notified of their time to be here for the interview?
I believe the clerk had asked them all to be here. He may have given a time an hour apart initially, I think, when he set these up, but I think later followed up with a phone call and asked everybody to be here at 5:30 because we didn't anticipate everybody would take an hour.
And what time is it, like 5:45, and people still on here?
Well, I don't know that for certain. They may have arrived in my office. So that's why I told the clerk, whichever one is first on the list who is here, we would take.
Mr. Mayor, just to clarify, we've scheduled a special meeting for Monday to vote and elect the candidate, Tuesday, next Tuesday.
Tuesday at 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Great.
Thank you.
While we're waiting, since everybody is here, I don't know what's scheduled for subcommittee meetings next week, but I know the governor's transition team has asked to have a public input meeting here at Lowell City Hall beginning at 5:30 next Tuesday. So in the mayor's reception room, I did inform them that there was a city council meeting that evening, but they all agreed, they thought it would be worthwhile. They could perhaps hear from city councilors and other members of the public, and knowing full well that we would have to adjourn to our meeting. So that will be taking place at 5:30 next Tuesday at the mayor's reception room. Okay, so the first candidate we will interview today is Cheryl Wright. Ms. Wright, we want to welcome you. We'll give you a minute to get settled here. And we didn't discuss before you came in, although in the past we've had the opportunity to make an opening statement. So certainly I think you are entitled to do that if you so desire. Then questions will begin. Each counselor will be limited to 5 minutes, and then we'll give you an opportunity to sum up at the end if you so desire. So we're going to begin the questioning this evening with Councilor Caulfield, who is second to your left, from the end on your left. And if you would wish to make an opening statement, I'm going to leave so you don't have to worry about me being over your shoulder the whole meeting. I'm going to go have a seat next to Councilor Ramirez. So welcome, and we look forward to hearing what you have to say.
Mayor, we should probably let her know that the interviews are being broadcasted.
And you have to
And you have to
turn
speak
the
into the
microphone
mic.
on for the
You
green light.
see the green light?
Yeah,
The green light's on, so
Okay,
therefore
that's
I'm
on.
on.
You're on.
you're wired.
I'm wired for sound.
Okay, Ms. Wright, if you'd like to make an opening statement, why don't you begin?
Sure. I'd just like to thank everybody for this opportunity to interview for this position. What I'd like to say is, basically, I've had 28 years in governmental experience, 26 of which were with the city of Lawrence, which I consider a sister city to Lowell. It's an amazing thing that Lawrence and Lowell have such a grand history. They are definitely sister cities in all respect, right down to the fact that an amazing thing when I was looking up cherry sheet revenues for '07, believe it or not, both cities get $150 million. The variance is less than $300,000. So both cities are dependent upon state aid to such a great extent. Both cities have a diverse population. Both cities, well, unfortunately, Lawrence hasn't grabbed the opportunities that Lowell has. Lowell has become a professionally managed city. I have nothing but respect for that. With my 28 years of experience, I think I can definitely help Lowell, work with you, work with the town manager to move us into the future. And basically that's what I'd like to preface everything with.
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening.
And welcome. And just relax.
Okay.
You don't mind if I call you Cheryl?
Please do.
Cheryl, you have an excellent resume, excellent. And you indicated you worked 26 years with the city of Lawrence.
Yes.
Why did you leave Lawrence to go to Chelmsford?
Basically because I could not work with an administration.
Can
Oh,
you
I'm
speak?
sorry.
Right.
Basically because I couldn't work with an administration that was making bad calls. In 2000, we ended up with a free cash number of $13.7 million. Within 4 years, in 2005, free cash was a negative $2.5 million because of bad choices.
Okay.
I couldn't be a part of an administration that would do that.
I appreciate your honesty in answering that question. You're very familiar with the Munis system,
Yes, I am.
and you must be also experienced in Chapter 90, Chapter 70, federal and state grants, the school departments, and so forth, because that is a huge issue with us in the city. We have a $280 million budget. And were you ever a supervisor over employees?
Excuse me?
A supervisor Supervision?
I supervise a staff of up to 13.
Okay, that's
Okay.
fine. You also revolving loan fund manager with the Archdiocese of Boston,
Yes,
and a staff accountant financial analyst with the Archdiocese of Boston, and a fiscal officer with the Lawrence Future Youth Commission, City of Lawrence. So you have an excellent resume and an excellent career that you've presented to us.
thank you.
How did you see this offering in the ad? Where did you see this? In the Globe, the Sun, or did someone tell you about it?
Well, to be honest with you, I speak with your town manager quite often because I worked for your town manager in Chelmsford.
Okay,
So I've now taken to reading the Lowell Sun and starting to watch what your town manager's been doing and the progress that has been made.
so you're very familiar with the administration of Manager Lynch?
Yes.
Okay. The issue that's surfaced within our city is free cash. And I guess everyone calls it free cash.
It's not free and it's not cash.
Right. Probably a better term for it would be reserves, rainy day account, so forth. Can you just give us a brief on free cash? Just what's your feelings on free cash?
Well, free cash is basically your undesignated general fund balance, netted against all your receivables, and they reduce it by any deficits in any and all other funds.
Okay.
I see free cash as something to be used like a stability fund for unforeseen one-time expenses, not to be used to balance the budget, because you're falsely balancing your budget. That's what they did in Lawrence, and that's how they ate through free cash and how they have a negative
Okay.
fund balance.
For over a decade, maybe 2 decades, the city council and city managers of the past have frequently used free cash to more or less stabilize a tax increase or keep taxes low. Had we not done that, I would venture to say we would be right up to the tax levy in this city. So I thank you for being here. I wish you well. You have an excellent resume.
Thank you.
And I'll turn the microphone over to one of my colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Ms. Wright. My name is Eileen Donahue. I'm next to Bat to ask you questions. Let me ask you first with regard to the form of government in Lawrence versus Chelmsford. They're different forms of government, correct?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
They are, but very similar, okay?
They're very similar?
They're very similar.
Okay. When you worked in Lawrence, did you
Yes.
work for the council or did you work for the mayor?
I was appointed by the council.
By the council. So
Yes.
is it, we're a Plan E form of government. We're one of those, one of 2 cities basically that has Plan E, Cambridge and us, and then Worcester has a variation of it. So, so you reported directly to the council then?
Correct.
Okay. And when you worked in Chelmsford, who did you report to?
Town manager.
Okay.
Well, excuse me, I take that back. The Board of Selectmen hired me.
Okay, so then town, and by the way, we call him city manager here, but
Right.
Anyway, so the city manager, Lynch, did not hire you. It was the selectman that hired you?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Was your function, whether it be Lawrence or Chelmsford, to act as a check or balance on the administration? In other words, make sure they're dotting their i's and crossing their t's as well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
To check every transaction that goes through, to check every vote that goes through, to make sure we're adhering to city ordinance, town bylaws, mass general law. It's an
Okay.
independent position in every city and town, and the independence is to make sure that there's somebody watching.
And you understand that would be your role here in the city, were you to be hired as auditor?
Yes.
And the fact that you worked with Manager Lynch before, would that pose a problem to you? Would you, in terms of any would you feel conflicted if you're reporting on overseeing, watching what Manager Lynch's administration is doing?
Absolutely not. It's a team effort on all our parts. I'm here to tell you when I think there's something wrong. I'm here to tell him when there's something wrong.
Okay.
The numbers are the numbers. They speak for themselves. State law is clear. So I'm here to tell everyone what's going on.
Now, and you've supervised staff before?
Yes.
You said up to 13
Yes.
staff? All right. When Munis, how long have you worked with Munis?
In 1998, I was on the selection committee in Lawrence. I was the head of the implementation committee in Lawrence. So I've been working with Munis since 1998.
Okay. So it's fair to say you're pretty familiar with it.
Pretty familiar with it.
Were there problems in the beginning?
Of course.
Yeah.
Conversion, there's always problems.
Okay.
There's no perfect answer for anyone out there.
So you worked with Munis in Lawrence and in Chelmsford?
Yes.
Okay. And currently, have the problems or bugs been worked out as far as Munis goes?
Yes, until you go up to the next version, and then you have your bugs.
Okay.
To be honest with you, I drag my feet as long as I can to implement a new version because I want somebody else to be checking on the bugs. I don't want to have to be the one.
Oh, is there a
that's
new
out there as
version
the
coming?
beta.
We haven't heard about
There's
that yet.
always a new version coming out.
Great. So, and as an auditor, and by the way, comptroller, town accountant, auditor, are they all basically the same job?
Basically the same job.
Okay. What have been your biggest challenges? What's the biggest challenge that you'd
Of my
see?
whole career?
Sure.
Okay. In 1999, as we were going through a conversion in the city of Lawrence, they fired the budget and finance director. The controller retired because the auditors found that, well, they deemed our receivables and cash unreconcilable. So for a full year, I was both controller and acting budget and finance director during a conversion. Needless to say, I was working, if there were more than 24 hours in the day, I'd be working at more than 24 hours. We went through a tough time. But I'm happy to say we came through on the other side. That's the last time Lawrence had a recap done on time, a budget in place on time.
Okay. And then lastly, let me just ask one quick question. The number of fund accounts that, in other words, the federal accounts, the federal funds, and so you're familiar with that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
When you look at a Schedule A from Lawrence and a Schedule A from Lowell, the only difference is a few dollars here and there.
All right, so you've had occasion to look at both the schedules from Lawrence and Lowell and compare them?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And based on what you've seen, are you confident that this would be a job that you could do without much difficulty in terms of transition?
I think I can hit the ground, not just running, pulling people with me. Because there's something else I'd like to add here. When we came up on Munis and Lawrence, I developed a chart of accounts, a single chart of accounts for the school and the city. When you were going through your implementation, Mark Abrahams basically took my chart of accounts, changed it around a little bit, charged you for it, and this is your chart of accounts now. So I'm so familiar with your chart of accounts because I basically developed it.
Okay.
So I think that's a big advantage.
I got to pass it over to my colleague, Councilor Elliott. Thank you very
Councilor
much.
Donahue took all my questions, so I was going to ask you a chart of accounts. We did have some discussions on the chart of accounts way back when in, Y2K, year 2000, and that it seemed to be quite extensive and it may not have been developed, in the best way to fit the city, because it's sort of an ongoing thing. What do you think of Munis? Do you think the better software is out there? And I'm not suggesting that we convert because it's a huge expense, but we had such troubles, and at the time, there seemed to be better softwares, PeopleSoft, et cetera, but considering the size of the municipality and the money that we had to spend, it doesn't seem worth it. Munis seems to have, after we've worked out the bugs and people have become accustomed to it, it seems to be doing its job, if you will. But what about implementing new modules? I mean, we still are not completely integrated with some of the other offices. I know we're looking at integrating permits, and have you done that? Have you experienced any of those types of things in Lawrence or Chelmsford?
Absolutely. We had to bring up everything in Lawrence. I mean, the utility billing, the tax module, the payroll and personnel module, one at a time. You take them one at a time, bring them up one at a time. Munis is a good system. Is it perfect? Far from it. But it's the best out there, especially for a Massachusetts community.
Okay.
Massachusetts is different than the rest of the world,
I don't believe there's any perfect
unfortunately.
system out there, quite frankly. I work for the federal government, and we have IFMS, and considering it's a $17 billion budget, it works, but
Correct.
there's flaws in it. But let me switch over a little bit. What was your role in developing Schedule A tax recap sheet in Lawrence?
Schedule A?
Have you done? Did you do the Schedule A?
1993 to the day I left, I did Schedule A.
And did you have difficulties? DOR changed it around.
Yes, they made it easier.
Made it easier. I guess want to get into a little bit more of Councilor Donahue's touched on a little bit. You know, how do you find your role? I was surprised to learn. I had the same question. Who did you report to in Lawrence? And it was the mayor did not appoint you.
No.
But you work with the
mayor sends
council.
down a name, and the council approves it. But I answer to
You did answer
the council.
to the mayor.
The council, no, the council.
To the council. But did you say the mayor submits name for
Submits
recommendation?
the names, and the council approves or denies.
Okay. And similarly in Chelmsford, that's the case, or are you
Board of
just selected?
Selectmen.
Just, you work for the Board of Selectmen?
Correct.
Okay. I agree, I looked at your resume, I mean, you're well-versed from private, nonprofit to municipal government. I don't think I have any other questions. I believe they were all answered prior. Fund accounting, fund balance. I guess I was intrigued a little bit on your concern with free cash. We happen to agree, but in reality, that's really more the manager's.
Absolutely. I can
Manager's
have an
role.
opinion, but
Right. We will value opinion. What I also did appreciate was it is a team approach.
absolutely.
And that's what we need, and it's not just this council. We are one part of this,
Right.
three-team approach that, you check the manager, and we check the manager checks you, and it has to work. So when we do need information, we request it. I can say that wasn't the case in the past, which I think has led to where we are now. That can't happen. Any feelings on it? You said you've been reading the newspaper. Christian, you can't take everything the newspaper writes to heart. No, I'm just kidding. But what is your thoughts? What's your sense? How do you feel that you can come and become an addition to this team?
Well, let me answer a couple of questions. One is, we're dealing with people's dollars, taxpayers' dollars. We all are. And every single dollar needs to be accounted for. And whoever walks up to my office and asks about anything, my books are open. And it should be that way, because you know what? It's not my dollar. It's not my dollars that I'm counting. So I believe in open government. I believe if the government's open, decisions can be made in the open, and everybody's better off for it. They really are. I mean, and that's always been my approach. Always will be my approach. And the other thing I need to say is, it's not, the team approach also includes the Department of Revenue and Department of Education, because we are so dependent and so many of the laws are restrictive that they need to be a part of the process too. I mean, they're forced there, but if there's any questions, any issues, I think the sooner you ask the questions of the Department of Revenue and Department of Education, the better off we all are. So I think they need to be part of the team.
Good. With that, we'll turn it over to Councilor Mercier, who doesn't like the Department of Revenue, and he wants them
But-
gone.
Yeah.
Thank you for your answers.
Welcome, very. Just a couple of questions. A number of things I just cross off as I listen to my colleagues. Is it your understanding that your position as a controller in Lawrence, as well as your position as an accountant in Chelmsford, is similar to an auditor on the planning form of government in the city of Lowell?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because
It's
you-
basically the same position.
Okay,
You
it-
are the keeper of the keys. You are the gatekeeper.
So when you mentioned your philosophy on free cash, you were speaking as a philosophy because their role in that would be only to notify the manager if there's any. Am I right?
Absolutely. To calculate it,
Okay.
to put in the paperwork for it, not to decide.
Okay. You, is there a residency requirement in Chelmsford?
No,
There isn't.
no.
So you chose not to move to Chelmsford?
I still live in South Lawrence.
Okay. Would you stay in South Lawrence, or would you consider moving to Lowell if you got the position?
I need to ask, is there a residency requirement?
No, there isn't. Legally, there isn't, no.
Be honest with you, I wouldn't move while my father was still alive.
Okay. You know that this is a 3-year term,
Yes,
and you indicated, I think, to Councilor Caulfield that you were made aware of this position from the city manager, Mr. Lynch?
we were just talking.
Yeah. So basically, you being interested in this position has a lot to say about Mr. Lynch's.
Oh,
He's making you aware
absolutely.
of it. Okay.
Absolutely. Professional.
You have been a town accountant from 11/2/04 to now. There's a new town manager who probably could use your assistance, but I'll let that go for now. Why would you want to leave Chelmsford at this stage and come to Lowell? Is it beyond just Bernie Lynch?
Yes,
It is.
absolutely. I loved working in Lawrence. I thought, working in a community, a Lawrence or a Lowell, every day you're doing good work, all right? Every day you're helping people. Chelmsford's a wonderful community, but you know what? I can help more here.
Okay.
Chelmsford doesn't need the help that a Lowell or a Lawrence would.
You mentioned a potential conflict you had in Lawrence with the administration, but yet that would have been the mayor.
Correct.
But yet you worked for the council as well. What do they call their
City Council.
city councils? You worked for them, so
Right.
why wouldn't the conflict be directed to the councilors so they could straighten it out? Or could they have been?
The problem is, it's the mayor's budget, and the council can only cut.
Okay.
They can't adjust revenues. They can't sign contracts. The straw that broke the camel's back for me in Lawrence was the budget and finance director was on vacation. He came back and the mayor said, "I've done something great that you couldn't do." "Oh, Mr. Mayor, what was that?" "Well, I just signed a contract with the policeman." The contract, we had no funding for it. There was no appropriation, and the contract was never even costed before it was signed by the mayor. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. The budget and finance director left, and I left basically in protest. I was hoping that the Department of Revenue and an oversight board would come back into Lawrence, and they in fact might. They'll get back to deficit borrowing soon.
Okay. You realize as you're being interviewed that the auditor's position on the planning comes under the jurisdiction of the city council
Yes.
as a body, not individually. So that if the city council had a problem with the city manager, you realize, of course, if you were called upon to help solve that problem on behalf of the council, who are the policymakers, that's where your allegiance would have to lie.
Absolutely.
You clearly understand that, regardless of the relationship that you've had in the past.
Correct.
Because that's important to us, that there'd be an independent auditor that would advise the council on what is happening with the administration, and of course, work with the administration.
Absolutely.
But ultimately, bottom line, at the end of the day, you work for the city council.
Yes.
You are aware of that.
I'm aware of that.
Okay. Thank
I
you
work-
very much. That's the only questions I have.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Cheryl.
Good evening.
Nice to meet you, and thank you for applying. And your resume is impeccable. I went through the whole thing, and it's very impressive.
Thank you.
You're not a CPA, though, right?
No.
It's not, it's
Nope.
preferred, but you don't have to be. And I'm concerned about what you would do if you were selected to be the city auditor, what would your first order of duty be?
Well, I
What's
have
the
in
first
front of
thing you
me
do?
your management commentary from '05. What I'd like to do is go through the '06 when it's issued and start working immediately on all those management comments. It looks like you have cash issues, it looks like you have some receivable issues. That's the first thing I'd like to do, unless directed to attack something else first by this
That's what
body.
you do. And I'm impressed at your honesty, and you couldn't really work with the administration down in Lawrence. I understand that. And then you alluded to the fact that they had a minus $2 million.
2.5.
In the red of free cash. We have that here. What do you think about that?
Well, it sounds like decisions were made kind of in the dark, that information wasn't properly getting out from the powers that be to allow you to make proper decisions.
So I'm thinking.
This is just my
not
opinion
gonna-
from the paper, but
So this isn't going to hold you back, the fact that we're minus $2 million in free cash? Because
No.
you said that bothered you, and that's why you left Lawrence
No.
to some degree?
bad decisions were made to get us to that point.
So you're going
Those-
to get us out of that, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So how would you improve our city's bond prospectus? How would you improve that?
You have to go back to the basics. You have to develop a budget that, if you're conservative with your revenues, if you're truthful in your expenses, you're not going to put yourself further in a hole every year.
If
You
you
just build on it. You build on it with the truth in your budgeting.
And if you saw a problem, would you take the time to call 9 city councilors that you work for to notify us of any changing problems that you had trouble with?
I would assume you had email. I'd prefer to email
Well,
you because
whatever
it's
you could do.
instantaneous.
But you'd let us know then, right?
Absolutely.
Tell me about your knowledge with GASB 34.
Oh, GASB 34. Well, Lawrence was a first tier, like Lowell was a first tier. Unfortunately, at the time, we didn't have the money to hire an outside company to come in and do an asset inventory. So I got out there with a pen and a paper and all the insurance receipts, and I actually had to develop the fixed assets myself.
So you actually did that in Lawrence.
Yes, we were tier 1.
Now, I know that you're familiar with Munis,
Yes.
and I know that you're familiar with the old data of Munis, but have you done any new upgrades with Munis? Are you familiar with any new upgrades?
I'm familiar. I have not gone to the new upgrades. Like I said before, I want somebody else to do the testing.
But you're not familiar with the new upgrades to Munis, are you?
I'm familiar with them. I have not worked in an ongoing working database yet.
All right. You know, it's kind of tough because they kind of got into all of our things.
You don't have to ask questions.
No, I don't have any more questions, but I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good evening, Cheryl.
Good
And
evening.
welcome. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the fact that you graduated from the University of Massachusetts at Lowell. So
Yes,
I
I
think
did.
that's important, and welcome back to the city. My question would surround the planning of the budget and what you see the auditor's role in putting the budget together. What do you see the auditor's role in putting the budget together?
I think the city auditor has a very important role because I'm the closest to the raw data, and a budget is based on the raw data. So any calculations or projections that need to be done, I need to be there for. The town manager, the council,
Okay.
as they develop the budget.
Okay. And that same would hold true with setting the tax rate and interacting with Department of Revenue? You would do that on a regular basis?
Absolutely.
How often do you communicate with the selectmen in Chelmsford vis-à-vis reports? Is it on a monthly basis?
Monthly basis.
Okay, okay.
I give them updates on a monthly basis.
Okay, 'cause that's something I think, again, just speaking for myself, I would like to see the auditor's office provide us, at least on a quarterly basis, because obviously we're a larger entity here in Lowell, but if we could start getting information more on a quarterly basis, I think that would prove helpful for me, just making sure that we keep track of the numbers.
it's amazing to me that you haven't been getting them. I mean, that's a given as far
Yes.
as I'm concerned.
Okay, okay.
You need to monitor the budget, because if you don't monitor the budget and your expenses go over,
Right,
just as bad as having bad revenues in
right,
there.
right. You had mentioned comparing Lowell to Lawrence. Over the years, Lowell, because of really a public-private partnership that, in our opinion, is really second to none, has been able to deliver both federal and state dollars to the community. What do you see the auditor's role in making sure that those funds, those public funds, obviously, are administered properly?
Like any other dollar that comes through the office, everything has to be in its place, and there's a place for everything. I mean, you've got federal laws, you've got state laws, you've got city ordinances. They must be adhered to.
And bills get paid on time. I mean, the purchase order system that we have here, as you have, I'm sure, in
Right.
Chelmsford and Haddon Lawrence, I mean, not a dollar leaves the building without a purchase order behind it,
I
basically.
must say, in Lawrence, I never had a signature stamp. I don't believe in signature stamps. I want to see every purchase order that goes through. I want to see every dollar that goes through. It's my legal responsibility. If I'm going to be responsible for it, I want to see what's going on.
Okay, great. Okay, that's all I had. Thank you. Good luck.
Cheryl, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for coming. I want to take the opportunity to congratulate you on being a finalist. I think that the resume and the fact that you're here tonight certainly bespeaks of your experience, and I think everybody here has touched on that. So I think you should feel pretty good about that. I've got a number of questions, and you'll have to bear with me if they've already been asked, but I decided that the best course for me would just to organize a couple of ideas, and if I need to rehear them and reaffirm them, bear with me. Having said that, my first question is, why do you want this particular job? Why do you want to be the auditor here in Lowell?
Because I think I can make a difference in Lowell. I think I can help you. I think we can help each other. I feel as though I've actually really trained my entire life for this position. 28 years in government, in a city that's basically run the same. Fortunately for Lowell, they've made some good decisions, and I want to be a part of those good decisions and help make more good decisions in the future.
Great, thank you. My second question is, in Chelmsford, are you an ad-will employee or are you under contract?
I currently have a 3-year contract. It's a 3-year appointment. I requested a contract.
And so you are under contract?
Yes.
And how far along are you under that contract?
2 years into a 3-year contract.
And does that have an escape clause?
There's no penalty on my side.
Okay. And will you be requesting a contract here as well, or do you have some comfort in a 3-year at-will appointment?
I'd be more comfortable with a contract, to be honest with you. It's my career. If I'm moving from someplace to another place, I at least want some level of comfort in that. I mean, obviously, there are clauses in there. If I don't do my job, that you can get rid of me in an instant, and that's fair to you.
Okay.
But I'd kind of like something in writing because it gives me some comfort in the future.
Cheryl, I respect that. I'm from that school of thought. I don't want to be going into uncharted waters. I'm not specific as to what this body is willing to do if we get to that point, but it's important for me to know. What is your current salary?
I'm currently at 78.5 to be going up to 79.8 come July 1st.
Okay. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to divert for a minute. Angela, what did we advertise this job? I don't have it in front of me. Do you remember the range? Does anybody have the range?
Yes, it's 76,217 to basically 89,700.
Thank you. And, okay. And so you're currently at 78.5?
Correct.
Yeah. Let me ask you, and I think this has been asked in different forms, but what do you see as the most challenging part of your job? Not for the city, but for you in the job. What is the most challenging part of being an auditor that you wrestle with?
Having to say no. It's your job to say no. It's not a position where everybody comes up to you and loves you because you're the yes person. You are the no person. That's your job. So that's the most challenging.
Well, I appreciate that. I suspect that, you've boiled it down to that, and I imagine that you've done that well. Like everyone else, I've had an opportunity to look over your resume, and I must say the one thing that's missing, at least from my point of view, and it's not necessarily a knock, but it did jump out at me, and that is community service. I didn't see, and again, resumes are done in a number of ways and hosts of different reasons. They're catered and what have you, and I'd be curious to find out just what kind of community involvement you have, whether it's in Lawrence or in Chelmsford. Here in Lowell, we're kind of a needy community, and it's important, in my judgment, for folks that serve in the higher echelons of government to be part of the community and be willing to serve on boards and be mentors and just a number of different things.
Well, I served as a mentor for many years in Lawrence through the Boys Club and Girls Club. They have this yearly mentor program, and I was involved in that for over 10 years. I enjoyed that. There's another thing that I'm involved in, actually in the town of Salisbury, the Santa's Helpers program, who on a yearly basis, they go to the school department and find out who and what children are really needy, and you basically adopt a child. And you are Santa Claus to them. These children would have nothing unless you went out and you bought them everything for Christmas. I've been involved in that, I want to say like 35 years.
Okay.
I'm involved, with the MSPCA, here, there, and everywhere.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. My time is up. I'm getting the hook, and but thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Wright. We do appreciate your coming and submitting yourself to this process, I guess. I have a few questions. One is about forecasting, both on expenditure side and revenue side, and we haven't done a lot of that, at least in my time on the city council, and I think that's probably because it's hard to do when most cities are heavily reliant on state aid. You don't know what that's going to be from year to year. But you worked in Lawrence, a similar community. Have you had any opportunity or any experience in either Lawrence or Chelmsford with, preparing budget forecasts, looking out 2-3 years, and if so, how have your forecasts held up when you go back to actuals?
Forecasting, you've hired a great town manager for forecasting. As part of his budget, he always has basically a 10-year forecast out there. In Lawrence, yes, you're absolutely correct. Until the state sets their budget, you're really in a state of flux with your revenues, but not with your expenses. What I would do is forecast 5 years out on expenses with certain assumptions. If you had X amount of patrolmen, if X amount of increases were to be taken effect here, there, the increase in cost for schools if you opened a new school, things of that nature. I think the monitoring and forecasting is an important part of my job. I really do. Not many town accountants do that, but I think that they should, and I think they owe the city or town that because, again, they're closest to the raw data. They have the payrolls. They have everything that's going on. So I think it's a mandatory thing.
So in Chelmsford, you said that was commonplace. Did
Yes.
Did you have a role in that, or was that really more the manager's function?
The manager did it. My function was projecting out within the fiscal year.
Okay.
I would do projections.
Okay. And really, was there not much of that in Lawrence, in your time in Lawrence, or
There was on the expense side.
on the expense side?
When I was serving as both controller and budget and finance director, that's what I was trying to do, is get out at least the expense projections.
Okay, so you did do some of that?
Yes.
Okay. Earlier, we talked about, or I think you talked about, you have respect for our city manager, you've worked well with him, and you embrace a team approach, and I think we all do that here, and certainly we like to encourage that, but I think, inevitably, at some point, there could be a disagreement with, what the way you see things as your role as auditor, watching over, the administration. At some point, you might come up against the city manager. And so I think it's important for us to hear that, first, that you'd be able to do that, you'd be able to hold your ground in these types of disagreements. And I'd like to know if you could elaborate on whether an example or two, or if that's come up in the past. I know you said you had some conflict in Lawrence. I wonder if there's been anything like that in Chelmsford where, you had a disagreement and how it got resolved. If there hasn't, maybe you can tell us about something that happened in Lawrence.
Well, basically, every day is a series of discussions on what's going to happen. You always, with Bernie, we had an open, honest discussion, a give and take relationship, which you should have with, I should have with the council, I should have with anyone. But when it boils down to it, the numbers are the numbers, and the numbers go to the selectmen, the numbers go to Bernie. The decisions are made on a higher level than my level. So, if there's issues, it's brought to the attention of both of those entities. If there's an illegal appropriation or an illegal expenditure, it's stopped dead in its tracks. That's my job.
Okay.
No matter who signed it, it stops dead in its tracks.
So that's happened at some point. You found, not that people do things intentionally, illegally.
No, exactly. You
but
stop it, you go research it, and find out what's going on with it.
So and that's happened in your prior
Absolutely.
experience. Okay. I think that's really all I have. Thank you. Councilor
Thank you.
Broderick.
Good evening, Ms. Wright.
Good
My
evening.
name's Kevin Broderick, and I have the pleasure of going last, so probably be very brief. I guess I'm trying to go through the questions and decipher which ones I might be able to salvage here. It's difficult. But a question just came to mind. What experience have you had with school building in finance in terms of, we've built some schools, we have some that we're discussing now bringing online, and have you had that kind of experience?
Absolutely. When you look to Lawrence, the $110 million high school was begun when I was still there. SBA has changed, we all know that. I mean, so as far as all the new regulations really haven't been established. I mean, it's still only an outline. But as far as the old SBA, I was up to my ears in, we built 4 new schools in a 7-year time frame, and well on our way in the $110 million high school. I was also involved in, City of Lawrence had special legislation. What was happening is that we were allowed to keep up to 5% of the net school spending, monies that weren't expended by the schools, into a special fund. The fund could actually collect interest, the interest would stay there. The fund was meant to pay the 10% difference between what the SBA was giving us and what the City of Lawrence had to pay. So that fund was set there to generate the interest to make up the 10% difference. It was a very complicated formula, updated constantly, As a matter of fact, I work with one of your financial advisors on it, Al Tosti. I've worked with Al Tosti since the late 80s. So, involved in SBA, absolutely, more so than most cities and towns.
Okay. Could you briefly describe your experience in conducting internal audits and ensuring proper internal controls? What do you do for that?
Again, it's my job to watch the dollars. I've been involved within the past 4 years in 2 internal audits that I have done that have actually led to prosecution.
Okay, well, hopefully won't see that.
I know, but my job is to be hard. That is my job.
Okay, that's a fair statement. Could you describe, I think this has been asked in some fashion, but maybe quickly describe what would be your preferred relationship with the council and the manager in the development of the budget? Where do you see the auditor's role in that? We obviously had some problems with that in the past year, and if you could please describe for me what you think your role would be.
What I think my role would be is that I would be involved in it as much as the council and the town manager. Information is information, and I should be giving information to both you and the town manager at the same time, and helping you in your deliberations.
And I think, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think prior year's actuals are so important when you're developing the New Year's budget, and that's my role, to give you those prior year actuals, and to sift through them if you so desire. We can go through transaction by transaction. I would have to do that in Lawrence.
And now, how soon? I think you said earlier that monthly you do your revenues and your expenses. How soon, at the close of the end of the month, do you have those available?
Well, I have to see if your revenues are being posted on a timely basis. Unfortunately, in Chelmsford, we're manually posting the revenues from the treasurer's office. So that means I have to wait till after the turnovers are gone through, posted, proofed. So I try to get everything out by the 10th of the month.
Okay.
Which gives me a 10-day time frame to proof everything.
Last question. You asked about GASB Rule 34. Are you familiar with GASB Rule 45?
Yes, I am.
If you had any experience, that's with the post-employment benefits, they're going to have to
Yes.
start being reflected as a liability?
Yes. As a matter of fact, Chelmsford has hired an actuarial to come in and calculate the number. We all know it's going to be a big number. Every city and town is going to be shocked. We're Tier 2 in Chelmsford, you're Tier 1. The fact is, we don't know what the state's going to do with it yet. You know, until the state figures out what they're going to do. Cities and towns can only calculate the amount and wait. What Chelmsford's also done is establish a stability fund for that, which we're putting in just a minor amount of dollars in there. But I think to be on the cutting edge of that will show the ratings community that we're serious. And I think every city and town has to be serious. Because even though it's a number that, I mean, is going to be phenomenal, it needs to be addressed. And you have to start somewhere.
All right, well, my time is up. Thank you very much. You have an excellent resume, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Wright. If you have any concluding remarks, we'll be happy to hear, although that's not required, but we'll offer you that opportunity if you like.
Basically, again, I want to thank you for the interview. I again want to say, I honestly feel that I've prepared my entire career for this position. I see it as a challenge. I see it as an opportunity. I hate leaving Chelmsford, but opportunities like this do not open up every day. There are only a handful of communities in the state of Massachusetts that are of this size, that are of this form of government, that you can work in. I think I've proven I can work in a city. I think I've proven I can work with Department of Revenue. I've worked with the fiscal oversight boards. I've worked with Standard & Poor's. I've done it all. And I'd like to help you do it here.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
The other candidates are all here. The assistant clerk informed me the other two we were looking for were in fact here. They just weren't on this floor. So she's found them all and rounded them up. How do we want to proceed? Do we want to go back to the top? Okay. So the next person on the list is Karen Shri Kukala. So Angela, if you could ask her to come in. So questioning will begin with Councilor Elliott.
Good evening.
Okay, Ms. Kukala, I'm just going to explain. I'm going to go sit over there, but just for your benefit, we'll give you the opportunity to make an opening statement, and then questioning will begin with Councilor Elliott, who is right here. And then we'll just go down the row. Every councilor is going to take about 5 minutes and ask you some questions, and then if you want, you can sum up at the end as well. Okay?
Thank you.
So, welcome.
Thank you. A little nervous.
Okay, so if
Ready?
you'd like to give some opening remarks, we'd be happy to hear those.
Yeah. Good evening. Go ahead.
Sorry, Councilor Milanazzo? Okay.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So we should also inform you this meeting is being broadcast on our local cable channel as well. So you're
Make me
a big
more
star
nervous.
now in Lowell.
There you go. Good evening. My name is Karen Kukala, and I'd like to thank the City Council and City Management for considering me for the position of City Auditor. This is a position that I believe I'm well qualified to handle and hopefully would excel at. I'm currently employed as the Assistant Finance Director in the town of Acton. I've been working in the town of Acton over 6 years. Prior to working in Acton, I was the Assistant Assessor for 2 years and the Town Accountant for 6 years in the town of Shirley. I served as a voting member of the Finance Committee per the town charter for those 6 years, and I also served as an elected assessor and a member of the board of the Personnel Board. In my capacity as the Assistant Finance Director, I'm responsible with the Director for all finance-related functions of the town. I currently oversee 14 staff members who work in the Finance Department. The Town Clerk, Town Assessors, Tax Collector, Town Treasurer, Town Accounting, and Sewer. On a day-to-day basis, I am fully responsible for the town's accounting operations. I have earned the Certified Municipal Accountant designation from the Accountants and Auditors Association, and I'm familiar with and have completed all Department of Revenue required document submissions. I've been involved with the setting of tax rate, free cash certifications, and annual outside audits. My biggest challenge in Acton was implementing a new financial accounting system known as Munis. I consider myself very knowledgeable of the system of Munis. In my last 13 years in the public sector, I participated in many interesting projects, such as successfully obtaining a Moody's bond rating upgrade, implementation of the Community Preservation Act, school building assistant audits, trust fund reviews and analysis, generating data for union contract negotiations, issuance of estimated and final sewer betterments, implementing of the Fair Labor Standards Act regulations, and preparation of all annual budget material, including work papers on long-term debt, health insurance, and personnel costs, which in Acton comprises 80% of the annual budget. I'm very interested in the Lowell City Auditor's position. It would give me an opportunity for advancement in my career. I'm a hard worker who knows what needs to be done and how to get it done, and I enjoy working on team projects. In my spare time, I enjoy running and cooking. Thank you very much for considering me for this position.
You wouldn't do any cooking for the city council, would you?
Sure, why not?
As Councilor Donahue. Welcome, and you really gave a very thorough explanation of some of the questions that I'm sure we'll ask you again, but just give me sort of maybe an average day or average week, you know, what your roles and responsibilities are now as the managing, I think you said 14 staff people.
An average day, I try to get in before everybody does in the morning. I like them to see me there when they come in. I usually meet with the assistant town accountant. We kind of go over what the day is going to look like before I sit with the finance director. Right now we're in the middle of budgets. So we're meeting with different departments, getting ready to I run budget through Munis and then I run it through Excel. So I'm keeping that up. We're in the process of implementing the tax package for Munis, so I'm trying to coordinate that. And it's just every day-to-day, getting free
Oversight
cash
monitoring.
certified. We're in the middle of our ninth year reval, working with the assessor's office to get us through that, so then we can get our recap certified.
In Acton, is there what is the structure? Is it a town
Manager.
Town manager, and then
Selectmen.
Selectmen finance. I mean, there's a finance director, and then
There's a finance
assistant.
director. I'm the assistant finance director.
What role do you have, you and your staff, in preparing Schedule A tax recap sheet?
I prepare the Schedule A.
You do.
I prepare the balance sheet and the free cash submissions, and I work with the assessor to do the recap, and in the town of Shirley, I did the recap.
Do you have an MIS department or
An IT department, yes, we
an
do.
IT department?
Yes, we do.
Where is that structured, by the way? Is it under the finance director, or is it a separate?
It belongs under the finance director, but it's under the town manager.
It is under the town manager.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's similar here, and we had some discussion.
It gets tough, especially with Munis, because of permissions and things like that on.
And why do you feel it should be under the accountant and or the auditor?
Why do I feel the IT should be under the finance?
Right.
Because they go in, they can get into a lot of the financial systems through the back doors. You need to, make them aware of what they're doing, so they completely understand the finance package and the ramifications of things that could happen.
Right.
They're not always financially literate,
Okay,
just as I might not be IT, totally IT.
right. What would you find the major roles and responsibility as the auditor?
Maintaining internal controls
Okay.
and the software system.
As the assistant finance director, working with the finance director, who's responsible for advertising and bidding the annual audit? Is it the town manager, or is it the
It's the town
account-
manager.
It is the town manager. Do you go out to solicitation for bids?
We haven't since I've been there. For the auditor.
For an auditor, yes.
No,
No.
we've used the same, they've used the same auditor for 20, maybe 20 years.
20 years. How do you feel about that?
Um,
I'm kind of putting you on the spot here.
Yeah,
but
you
that's what
certainly
I
are,
wanted to
especially
do.
on TV. I have mixed feelings on that. I believe you should change your auditor every so many years.
Right.
I
I
do
don't happen to
believe that.
disagree. You have a fair amount of employees. Just a hypothetical. How do you manage them? How would you deal with difficult employees?
It's not easy. My approach...
And I'm not suggesting there are any here, by the way. I don't want, next thing we'll know, but...
My approach is, I believe it's like a big family. And I try to treat everyone equal. It's not always easy. I have an open door policy. Come in, talk to me. I'll talk to you about anything. I'll help you with anything. And I'll try to get you educated if you feel... but it's not always easy.
No.
Try to get people motivated.
Let me just, my time's almost expired. If I can just ask you, what do you feel, or how up to date do you feel you should keep this council if you were hired? What type of reporting requirements would you provide? Weekly, monthly, quarterly?
I would provide whatever the council would like. I would have no problem reporting daily, weekly.
What do you do now, or what does the town of Acton
With
do?
the town manager daily. They come down, we talk
How about for your
daily.
board of selectmen?
The Board of Selectmen,
Do they meet weekly?
they meet bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly, okay.
And they usually, any questions come through the town manager.
Okay.
We usually see them a couple times of the year for budget.
Okay, great. My time has expired. Thank you for your direct answers. I appreciate it. You have an impressive resume, and
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Karen, welcome.
Thank you.
Tell me, how far is Ashburnham from Lowell?
Ashburnham is probably about 50 minutes to an hour.
Would you be commuting, or would you consider moving to Lowell?
I'd be commuting. I tried to sell my house last year, but because of the economy, as we all know, kind of tanked.
I'll send you a good real estate agent. Go ahead.
I'm going to put my house on the market again. It's a little, I grew up in Air.
Oh,
Ashburnham's a little bit of a haul.
so
Beautiful.
you would consider?
Oh, absolutely.
Lowell.
Yes,
What is the population of Acton?
20,000.
20,000? And what's the size of the budget?
The size of the budget is, I wrote it down, 69,000, 69 million, sorry.
Now, although this
Tonight.
isn't a requirement, I just want to make sure, you're not a CPA.
I'm not a CPA. I'm a certified municipal accountant.
Okay. It seems in looking at your resume that you've been on a kind of management side of finances.
Yes.
That is assistant finance director, working directly for the town manager. What do you see an auditor's position? Do you have an auditor in Acton?
No, we just
You
have an
don't?
auditor who comes in once a year
Okay.
to do, I am the auditor.
Okay. You're the auditor, you're a
I'm-
financial officer, so who watches you?
Probably the town manager and the auditor who comes in,
Okay.
I would think mostly the auditor who comes in once a year to do my audit.
Are you familiar with planning form of government and how that works here?
A little bit, I've been reading up on it, yes.
Okay. Under the planning form of government, the auditor works to the city council.
Correct.
And the job of the auditor is to make sure that the city manager, the department heads, and everybody is right on line, and to be part of a team.
Correct.
To provide a budget. So that is what our position, the position that we're looking for.
And I already operate in that venue, and I did in the town of Shirley. I mean, it might not have been a city council that I reported to, but it was the Board of Selectmen.
Most of your professional career was in Shirley.
Actually, I'd say 50-50.
Okay. You were an elected member of the Board of Assessors of where, Shirley?
Yes,
That's elected by the people?
correct.
Okay.
I ran in and I was elected, yes.
And why would you want to now move from the position you're in, which is kind of a financial side, to the oversight side, which is an auditor side? Why would you, what would be the reason why you would want to jump into that?
Back into the accounting is the part I like the best. I don't like getting involved in the poll workers and how many poll workers you're going to have and where we're going to do the polls, and I like actually doing the accounting, working with the department heads, getting them the information they need so that they can...
Have you applied for any town manager's position in the state of Massachusetts
No, I
at
have
any
not.
time?
Town managers?
Yeah?
No, I have not.
Okay. That's all I have.
I'd like to someday.
Pardon me?
I'd like to someday.
Well,
Yes.
this would be the way to get there.
Good evening, Karen. Welcome aboard to this council chambers.
Thank you.
And looking over your resume, it's quite nice. I know that you like working with figures, but you have also a staff that you would have to supervise as well. How do you get along working with people, your subordinates? I mean...
I love working with people. All people are different. I don't know, you got to take them as they are. I like helping people learn. I like learning from other people. I like hearing other people's opinions, and I like offering mine.
And you know that one of the requirements of being a city auditor is that you attend the council meetings on Tuesday. Are you aware of that?
No, I wasn't, but that's not a problem. When I was in the town of Shirley, I had to attend the Board of Assessors meetings and also the Finance Committee meetings every Wednesday evening.
And you know that if you developed any concern that you should share this with this council, you would email us or make a phone call. You understand that if there were any circumstances that you felt we should know, you would call this council, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, when you worked for Shirley or Acton, can you recall what your earliest time was that they set the tax rate, in what month?
In the town of Shirley, it was the earliest, and we set it at the 1st of October.
October 1st. Very good.
And in the town of Acton, we usually set it in December.
Are you familiar with GASB 34?
Yes, I am.
And it's, I know
We've
it's...
implemented it in the town of Acton.
Okay, you did, so you're
And
aware of it.
also through our munis, the fixed
And
asset.
you're aware of Munis, you're familiar with it?
Yes,
Did you ever experience any upgrades to Munis?
Actually, we just upgraded in August from the 2003 version to the 2005 version.
And in Acton, I think, why would you have left Acton to go to your next job, Shirley to go to Acton?
I left Shirley to go to Acton to move on with my career.
To better your career?
Correct.
And so why would you be coming to Lowell? What is bringing you here?
To better my career. And I believe the job would be very interesting. And when I was a kid, I used to come to Lowell a lot.
Would you still be interested if I told you our free cash was negative $2 million? Would that be
Absolutely.
a better challenge for you?
Absolutely, I love a challenge.
Okay, that's one that you might be handling. And so there's really not much more that I have to... Of course, when he starts talking, I'll think of something, but
I can always give you
Just
the
put your hand
microphone
up.
back. That's all.
I wanted to ask you about Ashburnham because I think it's quite a lengthy commute, so...
It's not that bad. My son is in hockey, and so I travel the whole state. I like to travel. It gives me time to think. I do a lot of thinking in my car and writing things down and on the tape recorder, remember to do this or do that.
You just tell me your interpretation of free cash.
What I believe free cash is,
Tell me what you believe it is.
I believe free cash is any unexpended revenue at the end of the...
Would you apply any of that towards the tax rate?
That would be the council's decision,
It would be our decision?
or I don't feel that it would be the city auditors.
So, we asked the last
If I was a
candidate-
taxpayer
You would hope it would be, right?
Certainly.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening, Karen, and welcome.
Thank you.
In looking at your resume, you clearly have had a great deal of experience working in the area towns. What makes you feel that you can go from a $65 million operating budget to a $295 million budget, which is what we're currently operating under here in FY07 in Lowell? I mean, that's 4 times what you're currently used to. So I'd like to hear your thoughts as to...
It's still the same theory.
Okay.
It's still the same departments. It's still the same reporting. Some of the issues may be bigger because the dollars are bigger, but it's the same theory.
It's the same theory,
Yes, it
okay.
is.
What do you see the auditor's role in the budgeting process?
It's been different in both the places I've been. Because the auditor usually works closely with departments, they may have an opinion and how the city council, city manager,
Okay.
or the finance officer take
Okay.
it. That's, you know.
In your current position, do you interact with DOR, or is that done by
Yes,
the...
no,
you do? You-
because I work with them once I submit Schedule A, once I submit the free cash submission, and then I work with the assessor when we submit the recap.
Okay. In Lowell, we have been successful over the years getting federal and state grants. We've been very successful over the years building new schools here in the city. How familiar are you with some of the grant programs that both the state and federal?
We just built 3 new schools in Acton through the SBAB. We just put in a $25 million sewer system through the Mass Water Pollution Abatement Trust. I work with Chief Widmeyer on the Copson School and the, I forget the other federal grant that I was working with him on. So, and you know, the library
Okay.
and the home security.
Okay.
Homeland
okay.
Security.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you.
Karen, good evening.
Evening.
Thank you for coming. Congratulations on being a finalist.
Thank you.
I think that your experience and your education obviously bespeaks of you. I'm not going to have too many questions either, and that's just the hazard of being down the line a little bit. But I'm encouraged by the fact that you are an elected official, which at least you know what we go through.
Yes, I do.
Why do you want this job?
I want the job. I think it would be a challenge for me. I think it would be interesting. It's the next step in my career.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be kind of exciting to be part of a new team. It seems like new things are happening in Lowell.
I'm glad you picked up on that, and that's what this council has pretty much been up to. We're looking to start from scratch. Are you currently at will, or are you under contract in your current position?
I'm at will. The town of Acton does not like contracts.
Okay, and what's your current salary, if I may ask?
$89,000.
Okay. And would you be looking for a contract here, or would you be at will?
I would be at will.
Okay.
I think it's important that the city like me as well as I like the city. I think it's important that you don't want me here if I'm not doing a good job, and I don't want to make it hard on you if you feel that and I don't want to make it hard on myself. I think I would do a really good job, and I'm not, I don't think anybody needs to be tied. That might be kind of a pie in the sky.
Oh, I believe you wholeheartedly. What do you see as the most challenging aspect of an auditor's job?
Maintaining the internal controls.
And that would mean, and again, I'm a lawyer, so the numbers don't really...
What that would mean is making sure that people were adhering to the laws, things weren't being spent, they weren't, we weren't out there buying Mercedes for the city council, or we're doing what we're supposed to be doing.
I looked at your resume, and you certainly have plenty of experience. If I may, what do you do for professional development so that you stay on top of the laws that have been spoken about and the computer programs and the applications? How do you keep yourself up to date? What kind of seminars and professional development do you do?
I go to the Mass Municipal Auditors and Accountants School every March. When I was in Shirley, I used to go to Bentley and take different classes with Mark Abrams and different classes that they had for net school spending and those type of issues. And with Munis, I work with, the town brings in Dan Sullivan from Sullivan and Rogers, and I work with him. He teaches me, or we work a lot in the beginning. We're 4 years now into Munis, but in the beginning I learned a lot from him. I'll go out and find the information myself. I use the internet. I'll go to other people. I'll call colleagues in other towns.
Great. Well, I don't have too many other questions, but I want to thank you once again.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Kukala, am I pronouncing that correctly?
Kukala, Karen.
Okay. When you were in Shirley, you were the town accountant. Who did you report to there? Did you report to the town manager? Or?
The town administrator and the Board of Selectmen.
So dual?
Yes.
And I assume as the assistant now you report to the finance director?
Correct. We kind of work as a team, though. I mean, lots of times you'll find the five of us together and we're all...
Well, that's getting to my question, I guess, because we prefer that, actually, you know, that you'd work with the city manager and members of his team, but
Right.
the auditor's job really is the eyes and ears of this city council. So
Correct.
in a situation, you know, where there'd be conflict, we'd expect you to come to us to bring that information, even though it may not be
I understand.
what the city manager wants. And so my question is, has that type of thing happened in your prior career at all? Or
It happened in Shirley through the assessor, with some issues in the assessor's office, but not really. Would I be afraid to do that? No.
Okay.
I mean, I take my job serious.
Okay. And so there was a situation where you had to do a similar type thing?
Yes, it involved an employee, yes.
Okay. What about budget forecasting? Have you had much opportunity to do that? We find it, let me just tell you, here in the city, it's pretty difficult to do, given our reliance on state aid, which is, you know, consistent every year, but certainly it fluctuates. Have you had to do in your other roles forecasting, maybe not, if not on the revenue side, on the expense side?
Yes, I had to do both in the town of Shirley because of serving on the finance committee. And I had to prepare the budget forecasting, both revenues and expense.
How far out do you go, or did you go? In the current year or to the next year? Or?
We would go prior year, current year, next year.
Okay. And then how were your forecasts? Were they pretty good when you get a chance to go back?
Some were good, some were bad.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where free cash, and it depends on your, I had at one point a board who liked free cash.
Okay.
So it depended on.
Okay, fair enough. You said you thought this job would present some challenges to you, and I think I admire people that want to take on, that are comfortable in their present position yet looking for new challenges. What do you think would be some of the things that are challenging about this to you or intriguing to you?
I think your Munis system, I think being part of the new and upcoming team, I think that the differences between city versus town, working with the new people.
Okay. All right. I think that's all I have, so we've just got a couple more down the other end. You can
Thank you.
swivel your chair around that way.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good evening, Karen. My name's Kevin Broderick, and as you can tell, the questions are getting to be slim pickings here. You mentioned in your cover letter that you've had experience negotiating or participating in with Standard & Poor's and Moody's and bond negotiation in an upgrade in Acton. And what was your role in that?
What we did is the town manager, the assistant town manager, the finance director, myself, and the IT director got together. We found out all the AAA communities, and we went out and got all the statistical information on them we could, and then we compared ourselves to them. We put together a PowerPoint presentation, brought in S&P first, then brought in Moody's second. We didn't do a dog and pony show. We brought them in, quiet room like this, sat them down, went through the PowerPoint presentation, took them out, drove them out through the town, pointed out some highlights, brought them back, had a quiet lunch, off they went.
And it worked?
And it worked.
Okay. Could you describe what experience you've had in the, I might have been asked, but this is a little bit different, conducting internal audits and internal controls? What's the role of the auditor in that?
In Munis, when we brought on Munis, I had to set up all the internal controls, and now I manage them through the software system. As far as I reconcile monthly with, for the receivables, with different departments, recreation, any department having funds or different funds. And
you'll be able to...
And you set up internal controls as you go to make sure that, you know.
And would that be something you could supply a report to the city council on a monthly basis?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I actually prepare now for the departments on a monthly basis their grants, their trust funds. I let them know every month, you know, where they've been, where they're going, what's going on.
Uh-oh. Is that the sign? You've heard here that the auditor's job in a Plan E is to be the check and balance on the money, check the manager, report to the council who checks the manager, and it's kind of supposed to be a neat triangle. What would you see your role as an auditor in putting together a budget?
I'm not sure, because I'm not sure how the city of Lowell does it.
All right, well, the manager presents a budget for us to vote on, basically. So I would rely on an auditor to come in and be able to...
sit down and talk to you about the budget and the numbers and why they are...
Actuals and things like that?
Right, absolutely.
Have you participated in that?
Yes, I provide to the town manager now, I provide him with fiscal year '05 actuals, fiscal year '06 budget, fiscal year '06 actuals, fiscal year '07 to date. And we're getting ready to do fiscal year, and we've been actually in fiscal year '08 now.
Okay. And last question is the GASB Rule 45 dealing with basically the retirements.
Right.
And in the next, I think it's the next year or two in Lowell, we're going to have to put that together. You have any experience in that?
I don't have a lot of experience. I'm learning about it as we go.
Okay. Is that something you think you could handle?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. You have a very nice resume, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Karen, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Welcome.
Thank you.
I really appreciate the answers to the questions. You're right up front, you're honest, and right to the point. So I really appreciate that.
That's how I am. Thank you.
I'm impressed. You served at will for 6 years with the town of Acton as the assistant finance director. And they must be very pleased with your performance. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been there for 6 years.
Exactly, yes.
I also agree that whether the budget is 69 million or 369 million, you have to dot the I, cross the T, no matter what the size of the budget is. You must be familiar with state and federal grants.
Yes.
Chapter 90, Chapter 70, the school reimbursement funding,
The SBAB,
lunch
yes.
programs, and so forth. In our auditing department, we have approximately 8 employees, very dedicated. The auditing department does the payroll for the school department and the city side of government. So you would be supervising those people. How many people did you supervise in Acton?
I currently supervise 14 people in it.
14, okay. Okay. As my colleague, Councilor Broderick indicated, many of the questions have been asked, but I have this leading question. Many communities in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and probably in New England, are experiencing fiscal difficulties,
Yes, they are.
whether it's free cash, or an override, or expenditure of funds and so forth. Can you, in just so many words, can you give this council your feelings on why this is happening?
Yeah, economy's tanking. Everybody's leaving Massachusetts.
Right. Everyone is leaving Massachusetts.
Everybody's leaving.
Yeah.
And the economy is awful. It's,
Yeah.
we need some new business. We need to be rejuvenated.
Okay. I know, Lowell's experiencing that, but so aren't the communities surrounding Lowell. And
But you can tell that Lowell's trying to rejuvenate itself. If you go to a Fitchburg or you go to a Lawrence, Lowell's trying to rejuvenate itself. And
Thank
it
you.
seems to be doing a pretty good job.
And we're probably doing better off than Springfield, so.
Absolutely.
I don't have many more questions. I really appreciate the answers to the questions. And
Thank you for
you're
taking
right
the
up
time.
front and honest, and if the town of Acton was happy with you for 6 years, and should you be chosen, I think we'd be happy with you as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Forgive me if I'm asking questions that have already been asked.
Quite all right.
I'm going to try not to, but, I get confused at this hour of the night. Let me ask you, who appoints you in Acton? Is it the selectman or the?
Town manager.
Town manager.
Yes.
So you report to both, but the manager's your boss, so to speak?
Correct.
Okay. And so you're aware it's different here?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Do you attend the selectmen's meetings?
No.
Okay.
I do once in a while. In the town of Shirley, I had to attend all the finance and the Board of Assessors, but not the selectmen's
Okay.
meetings.
And so, again, it's different here because the auditor would attend the
Correct.
meetings and advise the council when necessary and so forth. And obviously, there's differences between city and town, but have you had occasion to look at, let's say, our Schedule A versus Acton Schedule A, or?
Yes, I went out online the other day and started
Okay.
looking around, started gathering some of the
So
statistics.
based on that,
Again, the
any-
theory is still the
Theory's the
theory is
same?
still the same.
any issues that pop up looking at our Schedule A versus the towns that you've worked in, or?
No.
No?
In fact, I really enjoy doing a Schedule A. To me, it ties everything together. It ties my free cash, it ties my balance sheet, and it confirms all the numbers.
Are you familiar with, have you been involved with creating chart of accounts in
Yes, I
Acton?
designed the chart of accounts in the town of Acton for the Munis software, and also in the town of Shirley, we implemented CompuSense, and I designed the chart there and implemented it.
And how many accounts did you have in
The,
Acton?
I have 1,946 general fund accounts, but I think I have, I want to say 100 different funds,
Okay.
maybe 200 different funds.
And you're aware that, I think it's already been asked, but there are a lot of federal grants and funds
Yes,
and so forth
federal and
that
state
may
grants.
not be present in the towns, but again, you're saying the principles are the same. It really
Right,
doesn't
and they
matter.
they are present in the towns. We do federal grants. The Mass Water Pollution Abatement Trust is a grant, a loan through the state of Massachusetts. We've built 3 schools in the town of Acton for the SBAB grants.
Let me talk to you a little bit about free cash. When it came time to set a tax rate, let's say in Acton, did you participate in those Board of Selectmen meetings in terms of giving them information, or did your information get handed to the manager who then?
The information the assessor goes up
Okay.
to sit with the Board of Selectmen and the town manager. In the
But you
meantime-
were involved with getting the certification
Correct.
through the Department of Revenue?
Correct.
Okay.
And I'm involved in doing the A1, the A2, the A3, and the different forms that the accountant needs to do for the
Okay.
recap.
Now, have you ever had occasion to borrow against future free cash to
No.
set a tax rate?
No, I have
Do
not.
you think that's advisable?
Honestly,
Yeah,
no.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have no other, thank you for the time. I mean, so many things have been asked that I don't want to
Oh, no, thank you.
repeat any more than I may have already, but thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that concludes our questions. If you want to recap for a minute, we'd be happy to hear from
I
you.
have a quick closing
Okay.
statement. There are many things I will do for the city as the next city auditor of the city of Lowell. However, there are things I will bring to Lowell that is the basis for all other success I would have in Lowell. My technical ability. Your city auditor must have the proper education, training, and experience to handle the position. I have all of the above. Performance. Your city auditor must be the kind of person that will take the education, training, and experience and make it work for the city. I will lead the department in achieving its goals and implementing and maintaining tight internal controls, timely and accurate financial reporting. Deadlines will be met, and internal controls will be respected and maintained. Communication. Your city auditor needs to be able to work well with the level of the city government. Your system of internal controls depends upon it. When all levels of city government have timely and accurate information, they will have an important tool to perform their functions. I have the confidence and talent to communicate to everyone. Again, I would like to take the time to thank the City Council and the City Management for considering me for the position of the City Auditor. And I hope everyone has a great evening.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
My directions.
We're probably all right now, if you want. Once we're past, Okay, our next candidate is Mr. Warren Sproul, who is presently, I think, the Finance Director Auditor in the City of Salem. Welcome, Mr. Sproul. We'd give you the opportunity to begin with an opening statement, if you'd like, and then we'll start with questions from Councilor Rita Mercier down here, and we'll proceed this way and then go back around to the other side of the council. Okay, so welcome. And
well, thank you for having me. My name is Warren Sproul, and I'll correct you just a little bit. I'm no longer the Finance Director of the City of Salem, but I was there in the city, and as a systems analyst in the city of Quincy for over 24 years. I've been a loyal, informative, supportive, resourceful administrator and an implementer. I think that's an operative word, is an implementer. For 30 years, I've specialized in development and implementation of financial accounting systems and have acted as a primary resource for those systems and their implementation. I'm an expert in both accounting and in systems. I'd like to review with you 6 specific areas of expertise that are finance, accounting, budgeting, management, taxation, and operations. So finance, I'm familiar with the major legal and financial issues of assessing, auditing, purchasing, tax collection, and treasurers. I have assisted in or designed major systems in each of these areas of municipal finance. I've assisted in multi-year forecasting of revenue. I started to update the capital improvement program in Salem. I created a unique sources and uses of funds in Quincy, readily proving cash and balances and fund balances. I created many tools for auditing and presentation of accounting data. Numerous systems I've implemented, too numerous to mention, but invoice tracking, automated receipts processing, expert systems for assigning mapping of accounts in Schedule A. In Salem, I sought other realistic sources of revenue to balance the budget. I developed the policies and procedures of collecting overdue water bills, that of turn-offs in Salem, whereas in Quincy they were water liens. I understand you have liens here. I facilitated a property that was in tax title to be sold at auction. And I think one of the key things that you see in my resume is I obtained the comprehensive annual financial report, the gold star of audit reports in the city of Salem. I've explained budget transfers to city councils in Salem and the necessity of closing entries. Under budgeting, I've presented 4 major types of budgeting proposals to the city of Quincy's mayor, that of line item, performance, zero-based, and program-oriented budgeting. Prepared a zero-based budgeting initiative in Quincy, which I think is probably unique in this Commonwealth. Integrated that budgeting system with source turnaround documents and provided salary and data information to the departments in making budget presentations. Participated in presentation of the budget in the city of Salem when I first arrived, and it helped prepare the IT budget in the city of Quincy. Also under budgeting, I projected healthcare costs, and I hope I get a question on healthcare costs from you. Accounting, I've provided guidance in the construction of citywide accounting systems, initially integrated and installed the first fund accounting system in Quincy, and is designed to develop 2 charts of accounts, 3 system conversions, and many reports. I integrated the manual and computer city processes in Quincy. I trained the accountants and auditor in Quincy and worked closely with the deputy finance director in Salem. I developed the mapping of accounts in the Schedule A to make it easy to fill out this onus report. Performed cash reconciliation and many tools to assist in the reconciliation of city books, cash. In Quincy, plus I've reviewed free cash certification, cash reconciliation filings, and the tax recap sheet in Salem. And I flow charted it too, actually, with a spreadsheet so that people can follow and track our progress online, actually. Assisting the accounting entries in Salem and in Quincy, provide procedures in the database, become GASB 34 compliant. In management, I've resolved conflicts between departments, communicated finance department policies to other divisions, examples water and sewer. I'm an unlimited resource individual. I have a lot of ideas and successful implementation. Under taxation, I'd like to just say that I'm familiar with all the federal and state tax reporting. I balance all withholdings with the IT department, auditors and treasurers in Quincy, And 1 year, Quincy received a letter of commendation from the IRS. Designed and prepared all the W-2 information and electronic reporting. They wrote a lot of the software for it. I'm knowledgeable about 1099 issues regarding vendors, retirement income for non-contributory retirees, and I provided expertise in the implementation of Medicare Part D in Salem. And finally, in operations, I provided timely monthly, year-end, and month-end reporting in both Salem and in Quincy. I think I say that I'm most proficient in providing transparency. We give more information in Quincy to the department so that they can, or we used to, keep track of their expenditures, their purchase orders and all. I authored the comprehensive needs assessment for an RFP for citywide system software in Quincy, and there's some 400 or 500 page document with all the city's needs, and we used that to prepare an RFP for system software. So with that, I'd like to turn the questions over to you. Do you have any questions?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Warren. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks.
Good. Thank you for submitting your resume. It's very informative, and I just was wondering, when do you set the tax rate in Quincy? When does your tax rate in Quincy get set? Do you know?
It's usually in early December. They have a
early December.
Yes. And
what about Salem?
In Salem was late November, early December, and then it was approval latter part of December.
Do you ever foresee that a budget can be set with the size of the city of Lowell with a $285 million budget? Do you think that in the size of the city of Lowell, do you think that it could be set earlier than November?
I would hope it would be. Boston is in the state, I think, is in January.
In January?
Well, the tax rate or the budget?
The tax rate.
We had planned to do it in October in Salem, but things slipped last year. So it was. I would like to see the tax rate being set earlier.
Did I hear you correctly? Did you say that you no longer work as the finance director in Salem?
That's correct.
So what do you
right now, I'm doing consulting work in Quincy.
Consulting work?
Yeah, for a retailer. I'm doing software and accounting and systems.
And when you were
it's a temporary job.
When you were the finance director in Salem, what did you generate for a salary?
I was $75,000 plus $3,000 stipend for the retirement board.
For the retirement.
I sat on the retirement board.
Okay, and did you? And do we have city councilors in Salem? What is it?
Yes, there are city councilors in Salem. There were 11.
And did you, as the finance director, have to sit in on city council meetings?
Just administrative and finance.
But not city council meetings?
I did sit in on some.
Well, you know that's.
But I didn't speak.
Well, that's a requirement here.
Okay, that's not a problem.
And sometimes we do ask you to speak.
That's not a problem.
That's all right. I'm sure you'd like that. And I'm impressed with the fact that you facilitated the migration plan to upgrade Munis. So you're very familiar with Munis, are you?
Two areas. One, I'm familiar with all of the detail. In Quincy, it was 2005 Munis product, and in Salem, it was 2003. So I had to bridge the gap between the two, and I would say that I wouldn't say I was very, very familiar with it, but I am familiar with the products and procedures.
And are you familiar with GASB 34?
Oh, yes.
Oh, you are. And what was the most difficult task that faced you as an auditor?
Inventorying of, in Quincy, we were inventorying all of the equipment, determining what was part of that, what was an asset. And again, in Salem, we had to do the water and sewer. We had to find out how many roadways and how many miles of sewer and water mains. So we had to make that GASB compliant.
Are you a CPA?
I am not a CPA. No,
It's not required, it's just preferred, I didn't.
I have 2 masters.
Well, and you're familiar with Chapter 90 and Chapter 70 funds, Chapter 90 money, Chapter
Well, the highway fund, yes. I briefed council in Salem on 90, what was eligible, the drainage, ditches, or anything, and it made no difference. The issue then was what was eligible for a Chapter 90 fund. You could do anything you want, and financing of it could be any way. You could use free cash, you could use bonded money, anything, but it had to be within that realm to be reimbursable.
When you worked in Salem, who did you report to, the council or the?
To the mayor.
To the mayor?
Yes.
You know that this is planning form of government, you report to the city council, you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, no further questions, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Sproul, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having
your interest in the position of city auditor. I'd like to begin by saying you do have a very impressive resume and a very distinguished career in both Quincy and Salem.
I love both.
Yes. Who did you report to in Quincy?
I reported to the 3 IT directors over the years. Do you want their names or?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
So you actually weren't the auditor in Quincy?
No, I was not.
No, you were not. Okay.
I worked about, I would say 56% of my time from the IT division, I worked with the audit. And so I helped train auditor and accountant in the systems, and I helped set up procedures and processes for them. I was the go-to person for that, which I love that.
What was your role in preparing the budget in Quincy? I mean, you were there 22 years. Were you involved in 22 fiscal years preparing the budget? You were.
From a mechanical point of view, from the budgets were prepared by the departments. They submitted their preliminary budget request to the mayor's office, and the mayor's office did machinations, or the audit office did them. I helped build the budget for them, and in fact, the zero-based budgeting what we were able to do is we roll it up into a single spreadsheet, and so the mayors could just click and see how much was there, and it was an online budget preparation. That was cool. And
but zero-based budgeting doesn't exist any longer, is that correct?
I'm sorry?
Zero-based budgeting, that's not a tool that's used any longer, is it? Is my understanding that zero-based budgeting is no longer used, is that true?
Well, we use it in Quincy to some
do?
success, and what was successful about, it's really a line item budget, yes.
Okay.
But it was successful because it was a new mayor, and there was 4 new councils at the time. So it was quite a learning experience for everybody. So they learned what goes into a budget rather than a line item budget. So it was instructive.
We're in the process now of redoing or relooking at our FY07 budget. With a new city manager in the community, we're revisiting some of our numbers that we had approved back in June this past year. And unfortunately, we find ourselves to stay with a negative free cash number of about $2 million. What would be your approach to deal with that type of situation?
I'm having trouble with you have a deficit of free cash?
Free cash of $2 million.
You have free cash of $2 million?
No, deficit number, a deficit.
Okay.
We don't have any. We don't have any. We're starting with a negative number. And we're now working with our city manager, with our chief financial officer. We'll be working with our city auditor going forward to try to make sure that we have appropriate controls in place, internal controls going forward, in order, number one, to not let that happen again, and number two, try to deal with, level funding, if you will, or getting the budget, which Councilor Mercia mentioned at 285. Either through, we met last night, we increased the number of fees that hadn't been increased in a long, long time. And we're going to be meeting on December 12th, I believe, to look at setting the tax rate. But again, we're starting at a position with a negative free cash number. So as city auditor, what would be your contribution, if you will, to that problem?
Well, you can look at 2 ways, increase revenues or decrease expenditures. Revenues in Salem, we proposed to the mayor to a trash fee. He wouldn't accept it. The current mayor did, and they're in the process. I understand they're in the process now of implementing that. Simultaneously, you could reduce expenditures. I proposed a sort of all the expenditure codes by object, and then what was your deficit, and just trickle back up the area. So you start with your, actually it's in the object code sequence, but
Right.
your salaries at the top, and then whatever was necessary to cut. You have to find $2 million to cut this year's budget. So you work your way up from the bottom, and then you...
Right. Again, that's just the free cash deficit. The actual deficit itself is much, much higher than that. Unfortunately, it's more in the order of $5 to $6 million. So we're dealing with that in a variety of ways, but...
And I trained the staff in Salem. I tested them, this was in December or January, if they could do that, and they did, and they prepared it. And I said, I don't know what the new mayor will want, which, but at least they were able to do so. And they were lucky. They were able to close the year with, I think they had a $500 cap on expenditures, and they said, okay, this had to require mayoral approval to be, and so departments tended to be shy and not submit them. So they had to tighten their belts, and we knew that was going to happen.
Okay.
And that's how they did it.
Okay. One last question having to do with federal and state programs. How familiar are you with federal and state grants that are available to cities like Lowell to build, new schools? In our case, we've built arenas, we've built ballparks, we've been able to really pull ourselves back up and really become an economic engine, if you will, for the region. That's been done with additional federal and state dollars. How familiar are you with administering those dollars as they come into the community?
I've worked with the community development in the grants in Quincy and multi-year granting. I'm familiar with the federal funding process there. And in Salem, I was familiar with Salem was a big parking issue, so I started looking at some of the economic developing garages and some of the cost factors there. The grants, federal and state grants have separate funding sources, and funds can't be commingled, so I am familiar with
Right, okay. Well, thank you. Thank you. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Warren, good evening.
Oh,
And thank you for coming. And
thank you.
I want to congratulate you for being a finalist. I think that just about everybody here voted for you, and I think that's a reflection of your resume and your accomplishments. It's a very impressive resume.
Thank you.
Would you mind terribly if I asked you why you left the city of Quincy?
Why?
Yeah.
That's a difficult question. I love the work. I love the people. I still do. I still communicate with them. But I just thought I was a systems analyst, and I thought I could do better. And I wasn't. And after 22 years, I wasn't fully challenged. And I just thought there was a lot of things that I'd like to do, and there's many more. I hope we have time tonight to talk about the things I'd like to do and to implement. And so I went to Salem, and the offer was there, and I thought, gee, that'd be a great opportunity. And it was mixed feelings about leaving Quincy, because I love the people, and I love Salem too.
Okay. Why do you want this job?
I'm interested in finance. I think on my resume, in accounting, I think you see on my resume that I've worked with exclusively financial accounting systems since 1975, exclusively, and that's my forte. I'm good at it.
Yeah, and as I said, it bespeaks. What did you say your current job is?
I work in construction and maintenance at a company called J. Jill. I do the accounting and dispatching of repair work, and it's a temporary job right now.
So you're interested in getting back into the government?
Yeah, and I'm somewhat judicious and selective of where I.
And that is at will, so there's nothing barring you from leaving that position?
Oh, no, not at all. In fact, they know I'm here tonight, so.
Okay, well, that's important, because it's being televised, so as long as they know. Is there a salary requirement that you have?
I have one in mind. You want to hear it?
Certainly.
I was thinking 75.
Okay. talk to me about community service. Your resume is very technical and very specific to finances, and do you volunteer in the community? Do you have a lot of community service?
I didn't include it on my resume, but yes, I was a member of the Lions Club in Quincy for 3 or 4 years. I did volunteer. Did the little gardens that you have in the roadway. I did 3 of them in Quincy. It was a lot of hard, heavy work, but I loved to do the volunteers and gardening. I was a paid treasurer for the Quincy Public Employees Association, so I'm becoming active in the community. I give back to the community. Yes.
Great, Warren. As I said, I think your resume speaks for itself. I don't have a lot of questions. I was very impressed by it, so I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Martin for his questions. But I want to thank you very much for coming.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Mr. Sproul. Welcome.
Thank
I wanted to follow up a little bit on what Councilor Milanazzo was asking about zero-based budgeting. I think part of your role in this job would not necessarily be to present budgets. That's more the city manager's function. But I'm intrigued by that. I had understood that the new mayor in Somerville, Mayor Curatoni, was trying to do something along those lines. How did, and you said you did it in Quincy, but you were there 22 years, so when did that
That
occur?
happened in year 2000. We had a line item budget from 83 to 2000, and then the new mayor, William Phelan, came in, and he wanted zero-based budgeting, and I met with him and my boss, and we said, don't do it unless you really want this, because it's a lot of work. But we were able successfully to do it. Everybody jumped in, and we pulled it off. It's a nice-looking document.
So, as I understand it, instead of looking at last year's budget and looking to increase or decrease it, you start at 0 in each department and determine what needs there are, and you build from that way.
Right. It's an interesting concept. It really became kind of a line item budget, in honesty, because they kept the payroll, the salary figures as part of a line item budget, and then you had really a program. So are you going to have, you looked at it from a program perspective. Did you want to have, community policing, or did you want to have harbor master, or those sort of functions and if you described all the functionality that these different departments did, then you were able to determine where you could maximize, or it was a learning experience.
Yeah.
It was really that, where you could, which I don't think is necessarily true in Lowell. I think you understand your budget and how it works. But for Quincy at the time, they had new councils and they needed training.
Did it result in any significant savings or shifting in priorities, or did it, even though you started at 0, did you end up pretty much where you were the year before? Or what was your experience with that?
I think they started pretty much the way they were, but it could be used for shifting priorities and different ideas. Yeah, it could be. And I think too that it was. I think the departments had to then begin to justify some of the expenditures they had.
Okay. You respond to Councilor Ramirez by saying there were a lot of things you'd hope to accomplish in this job, and you'd hope to get a chance to talk about them. So why don't you tell us about them? I'm not sure you will get a chance, but
Okay.
why don't you tell us at least a few of them, and then in some other councilors' time, they might ask you to follow up. So, a couple of things you think you can bring or you'd like to accomplish in this job.
Okay. The GFOA has a Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for best looking budgets, and I'm confident that I could bring that to Lowell. It's a lot of work again, but I think I can do it. Preparation of, make it look like a newspaper. Make it interesting, somebody wants to read this thing. So it's not all just a spreadsheet, massive spreadsheet, but somebody wants to read this thing. It's got pictures, and it's got maybe some shadow boxes, that sort of thing. And it could be fun. If you find a couple of key people who wants to work on something like that, I think you could have a budget that could be not only content, having specific dollar amounts in performance-based budgeting, but yet also interesting reading. Another area too is I think I look around the systems and I see the systems in all the cities, and I've seen a number of systems in cities. I see where systems become antiquated. One year they work, they're interoperable, but then suddenly they come out of synchronization. And working with the IT staff, I think that I can develop a means of updating some of those systems. I also or so that they'll communicate with each other on a more timely basis and not a manual effort. I look at things like ODBC. Having the secret to good government, I think, is to have the ability to, on your systems, be able to download that data to your desktop, do a sort data merge, and be able to present rosters or mailings to the fire department or to school employees. And being able to, I think if you had a key user in each department who was able to facilitate that movement of data to the desktop, it would be, that's an area I worked on a lot in Quincy and more successful in Salem.
Okay, I think I've used up my allotted time.
But I have more if you want to hear them.
That's okay. Maybe some of the others will ask you a similar question. Councilor Broderick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Mr. Sproul.
Hello.
My name's Kevin Broderick. How you doing?
Great.
A couple questions for you. Your resume is impressive. I guess the direct question I have is that you seem like more of an IT type of guy than a numbers cruncher.
Yep.
Have you had experience developing, let me just go through my little list here, developing the tax recap, the Schedule A and the recap sheet?
Yes, I've worked with that in Salem and reviewed it and for correctness and completeness, plus the free cash certification and I've worked with that form. I've worked a little bit in Quincy with providing ancillary data for that, yes.
Okay. Now, when you say you worked with it, did you prepare it or review it?
My deputy did most of the heavy lifting.
Okay.
And
But you're confident you could do that?
I'm sorry?
You're confident you could do it? You could prepare the tax recap and the Schedule A yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
Schedule A, yes. In fact, that's another area, having a computer-generated Schedule A. It's quite an onerous task in filling those things out.
Right.
So,
Okay.
Can be.
Another question is, what experience do you have in conducting internal audits and ensuring proper internal controls? Have you managed people in different departments and implemented controls to make sure that the numbers jive and they are what they're supposed to be?
Yeah. Well, there's two questions. There's one is the internal controls, and yes, we did build internal controls such as personnel in Quincy. Personnel would only do the rate setting, or auditing would do the hours worked. So there was a separation of functionality there. I also worked with the Quincy College, so they were a separate entity to make sure that they had there was internal controls on the payroll and accounts payable there. There's always little problems that are popping up, and we always looked at the consistency and standards, and those internal controls are being kept in place. And cross-training, some of it was cross-training too. When you say supervise, yes, I supervised a staff of, well, there were 26 on staff in Salem, and it was, my immediate responsibility was with the 7 department heads in the finance department, and we had weekly staff meetings that we hashed out problems with the mayors. And incident, I might say that it's quite a successful model, where if you have communications interdepartmentally, and you share your concerns and your problems, and somebody can say, oh yeah, I can solve that, and you're able to
Tap into each other as a resource?
Yeah.
Now, I don't think anyone asked this. Why did you leave Salem?
I left Salem when after the election of January of this year, or November of last year, and January I left, and I sensed that the new mayor was not going to keep me on. So
Okay.
I offered my resignation.
Changing the guard?
Yep.
Okay. You mentioned in your opening a number of things that you've done, and one of the things that you seem to have put in processes for collection of liens and monies. Have you done anything in terms of collecting parking and excise fines? The city of Lowell has a tremendous number of outstanding fines and
Do
and
you
things.
mark them at the registry?
I would assume we do. I've been told we do, yes.
Then money should be forthcoming. I mean, because somebody can't register their car or renew their license unless they pay.
Okay, that was my understanding. I didn't know if you had anything in addition to that. That's, have you had any experience, my question in the evening, it seems, is GASB 45 in dealing with the post?
43 and 45, the post-employment benefits,
Right.
yes, we had to find out how many people were in the retirement system who were receiving medical treatment. That was done in the personnel office in Salem. Not the same people that are in the retirement office. They could be the same, but they're not always the same people or...
But you do have experience?
Yes.
You helped compile that? Okay.
Yep. That's quite a... it's going to appear on your balance sheets, and there's some big numbers out there from nationwide.
It's going to be scary. Well, hey, thank you very much. You have a great resume, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, Warren.
Hi.
How are you?
Great.
It's very easy to see that my colleagues all supported you with 9 votes, so you had an excellent resume. And I don't want to be redundant with some of the questions I have. You have a distinguished career with the city of Quincy. You served there for 22 years. Matter of fact, they even named you an Employee of the Year in 2004. You live in Quincy, right?
I do now.
I'm having a hard time. Why would you want to leave the city you live in for Salem? How far is Salem from Quincy?
An hour and 4 minutes.
How long?
An hour and 4 minutes.
An hour and 4 minutes. That's even more reason why I'm asking this question. Why would you leave such a distinguished career in the city of Quincy, where they thought so much of you, they named you Employee of the Year, and you have, done so many positive things for the city you live in? Why would you leave?
There's a short answer and a long answer. The short answer is that I always wanted to do a finance director position, and I left the Pentagon, and I said one day I'm going to make that transition. I love systems, computer systems, but one day I'm going to make that transitional change from systems to financial management. And the opportunity came up, and I made it. And it was a very difficult decision for me to make. I had to separate the emotion from the reason. And emotionally, I still love Quincy, and I still love Salem, the people there and the work that I did there. But rationally, we have to think about, this is an opportunity.
What was the salary, I don't, once again, be redundant, what was the salary you received in Quincy for your financial expertise?
$61,000 plus $1,000 for longevity, and
what was the salary in Salem?
75 and 78,000.
So you sacrificed 2 hours on the road every day to go to Salem. Well,
yeah,
I appreciate that. You have served 36 years in public service, and you...
27 years. I had 5 years
you
in the
started
Army.
in Washington, D.C. in 1970, the Defense Intelligence Agency.
Yes.
And who did you answer to in Washington, D.C.?
I was in a computer division within the Defense Intelligence. I was an Army captain. I was a computer programmer with the elements called DS5A in Defense Intelligence, and I worked there for 4 years, and loved it too. There was a lot of interesting work there, a lot of interesting systems that I did. I think I can say now I worked on the POW systems in MIA. I worked on a strategic mapping, really a bombing encyclopedia, and I worked on a personnel system. So fascinating work. I loved it, but I didn't want a career in the military.
Okay.
And I went to Congress, and there I worked for 3 years.
Should the council hire you for employment, would you be looking for a contract?
I may, yes.
Okay. We have approximately 8 employees in the auditing department. You have experience with supervising employees.
If you get time, I'll talk to you a little bit about supervision. What I found when I went to Salem is that I wasn't the go-to guy anymore. A lot of people can ask me questions, and I couldn't solve all the problems, so I had to rely on my staff, and they were superb staff. And what I tried to do was try to figure out how they solve problems. So we all solve problems differently, and I tried to maximize their, provide some input to them. I said, "This is a good idea. Have you tried this?" Or "I've done that before. That doesn't work." Or "Is this done?" And I allowed them to shine, and we did.
One last question. The auditing department handles the payroll for the city of Lowell. That would encompass the school department and the municipal side of government. Do you have any expertise in that payroll?
Very much.
Okay.
All the annuity carriers, we used to set them up. I can talk to you about, from the detail, about how to send a tape to, from a systems perspective, to your annuity carriers or to the legal requirements. I implemented the change from Social Security deductions. We did away for our part-time employees with Social Security deductions, and there was a saving of $400,000 to the city of Quincy by converting them to 457 plan. A different type of plan, not the 457 plan, the 457B, and there's a 457F, which was in lieu of Social Security.
Okay, just one last question.
Yep.
Why did the city of Quincy name you Employee of the Year in 2004?
Well, there were actually three of us.
It's
one from each union. I think the union, the three clerical unions, are the supervisors and the clerical and one other union, laborers. I think they started a new program, a public service, Pride in Public Service program. So they just selected three of us from the unions. And
well, that's an honor you must be proud of. I know you are.
I am.
Thank you. It was an excellent interview. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Sproul. I'm trying to figure out, when you worked in Salem, you were finance director / auditor. Was that the title, or?
Yes.
Okay, so it's director and auditor.
I think at one time they combined the two years ago, that there was an auditor and a finance director, perhaps, and they combined
And I
the two.
take it from your earlier comments, you worked directly for the mayor.
I did.
Okay, so.
But I worked closely with council.
Okay, but it was the mayor who hired you and you reported to the mayor?
Yes.
Okay. In Quincy, you have systems analyst / accountant. Did your job change over the years?
No, what happened actually in '99, the accountant died, and I volunteered to do the accounting. So for 3 months I did the accounting of the city, closed the year, and then the city hired an accountant, fulfill that.
Oh, okay. And did they have?
I was an acting accountant.
Did they have an auditor, or the accountant was the equivalent?
No, they
of
had
the
an auditor and an accountant.
And an accountant.
Yes, one did the financials and the other did the accounting.
And was the IT department under the auditor, or?
No, they were separate.
Okay, so.
But I lived in the auditor's office. 50-60% of the time I think I was over there, and then the other time I was doing water or real estate or assessing, sort of computing. So that's how I know all the systems and all the procedures, purchasing procedures and the laws associated with it.
So you've then done both. You've done, I don't know why this mic is ringing.
I've done bottoms up
Okay.
and top down.
And so you've done the IT portion in terms of finances, right? I mean.
Yep. So I know it goes into the processes, into a payroll, into accounts, into all the reports and all the filings with the federal, state government, the even ad hoc reporting to DOR.
So was it in Salem then that you had management experience when it comes to finances, or? I'm just trying to separate out what the two jobs were.
They.
What's the maybe tell me in your own words. What was the difference between what you did in Quincy and what you did in Salem?
I think in Salem I had the authority and the responsibility for the position, and in Quincy I had a lot of the responsibility, and I had the respect of someone who was knowledgeable and knew how to do it. And I was the go-to person for that.
Now,
So I think, did I supervise in Quincy? Probably informally. I said, well, you got to get this done, to a mayor or somebody. I would say, you have to get this done by January 1st and just keep things on track. But I didn't have direct supervision, no.
okay. Which area do you like better? Let's say the city of Lowell, I don't want to send out any shockwaves, but let's say, our MIS director decided to leave. He's not leaving, but anyway, not that I know. But you never know around here. Let's say that we had both positions open. Would you still want the auditor versus, because you do have a very extensive background in IT.
No, I would want the auditing position, but I want you to know that I love systems, and I would, if I have to pick up a pencil, I'm going to computerize it. It's going to be on a spreadsheet, and it's going to be on a network so everyone can see it.
So that's like your forte, it seems. That's a strength of yours in terms of...
It's stronger, I think, than the accounting side. But I think you have to know more to be a systems person than an accountant.
Okay.
But it's, I have to be able to understand the logic in an accounting form in order to, so I understand it from a very detailed perspective in how to create journals, creative journals actually, in the systems. And you have to understand that.
Okay.
But I do like systems and accounting.
And you had mentioned in the answer to the mayor's question that you had said there were other things that you'd like to discuss, and I don't think you got all the way through before the mayor's time ran out. Was there something else that you wanted to?
Well,
because you've been asked a lot of questions, and I'd rather give you a chance to tell us something that maybe you haven't been asked that you'd like to talk to us about for a minute. Is that a minute? Is that what I have?
Mayor Yusevich asked us in the staff meeting one time, I want you to think, kick back and think a little bit. Spend an hour a week, think about things, make things better. So I come up with this idea of a per capita accounting system. So everyone's talking about economic development. So if you were to develop a per capita accounting by parcel, you could tell which areas of the cities were growing, which were most profitable from a tax base. And so I trying to develop this, and as a proof of concept, I had them map City Hall employees onto the GIS system, just to see if we could calculate their age on a map, City Hall. And we were able to do that. So the next step would then be which parcels you could start to begin you're familiar per capita, it's by person, how much parcels are making money. And so you could then use this. I don't think anyone in planning, maybe they do in Lowell, but most planning, economic developments, they have a theory, but the practical implication, can you point to this area as a zone as being profitable or whatever?
So you'd get the data to support the theory, so to speak.
Yeah. Right, and it dovetails nicely with the idea of integrating all the different, like the permitting systems, the GIS, the Munis system, the accounting, and the assessing system together. And I think, in fact, Munis has that with what they call the master parcel ID. I'm just suggesting to do your own.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you very much. I know my time is up.
Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Sproul.
Hello.
If I can touch on some things that haven't been mentioned. In any of your positions, and I was impressed by your opening statement. I think you really covered a lot of questions that all of us would have asked. It was quite thorough. You seem to be, I like your enthusiasm, and it seems like you like to look at problems and more, you're a problem solver, trying to identify, where the weaknesses are. But in any of your jobs, did you have an annual performance review by, I guess you weren't in Salem, you were in Salem for a year, but
yep.
Say in Quincy, you were there for 22 years. Did you have an annual review by, would it be the mayor?
No, we didn't have annual reviews.
No.
No, we didn't have that. I've been at the annual reviews in the Army and in Congress, but not in Salem.
No,
I'm not in Quincy. And
I'm just trying to get a feel because we evaluate, I should say, we evaluate our manager and our clerk and I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing for the auditor. I think it's good for the council to know, what needs to be worked on, what worked, what didn't work.
I do that myself.
What factors do you think ensure or prevent any internal weaknesses from surfacing in an annual audit? What do you feel needs to be in place so we'll limit our findings, and an independent audit will come in and they'll limit their findings?
I think that I'm very open, forthcoming. I think that the widest dissemination of information is important, both in terms of external audit and internal audits, and that the more people know what the situation is, the more heads you can put together to find a solution to that problem. We had we distributed reports to the departments in Quincy that they didn't want. This is where you are at the end of the month, and this is the outstanding purchase orders, and we did that every month for 22 years. So I think that the widest dissemination of information is healthiest.
Right. I agree. I was going to lead into another question, but that was a good segue. In any of your experiences, we'll say in Quincy or Salem, have those communities begun an automation process for procurement instead of just right now it's strictly a paper trail, and I think we need to start moving to be a little bit more paperless process, because it's time consuming, requires a lot of data entry. And I'm sort of picking your brain as a systems person.
They started it twice, once in Quincy and once in Salem, and it was December of last year. I think the purchasing director went out to look at a state procurement package. You can, of course, as you know, dovetail with the state. You can purchase, say, computer systems off the state contract, which you probably do. So that's a cost-effective measure.
And let me be a little bit more clear. I'm not saying circumvent 30B by any chance, but more just put an automated process in place where, it doesn't have to go through still has to go through the approval process, but it's a little bit more streamlined, it's more automated, it's done online, if you will. There are still some, required physical signatures, but it seems like that's something that we need to move to.
Munis has that facility. And I might mention that Munis, you can have electronic signatures for approval. So once it's entered there, you can also scan documents. This is another initiative that we could talk about, scanning documents, having a document management system, reduce the paperwork. But you can scan documents and attach a contract to a purchase order and fix that to your system. That's one area that we were talking about doing that in Salem. In terms of electronically, you can make electronic approvals, and they're doing that in Quincy for purchasing.
I think you've answered my question, and I don't mean to be brief, but I'm going about to be cut off, and I have one more question. A couple of councilors have alluded to GASB 34 and 45. I don't think they provide any inherent value to communities. I don't think 45 is realistic. I don't know what what yardstick it's going to be used for, but that leads me into the pension system. In Lowell, we have our own retirement system. We're not tied into the state. Any thoughts? I know that you sat on the retirement board. How to improve performance? We have many fund managers. Was that your experience in Salem and or Quincy? That
yes.
It seems many of these pension systems are, including Middlesex County, by the way, need to move from less fund managers to maybe streamline. How can pension systems perform better these days? Because as the auditor in Lowell, you are a member, a voting member, not just an ex officio, I believe.
I agree with you about GASB 34 and 45 and maybe the value of reporting.
I just think they consume a community's resources and really don't help us, but
But okay, we have to do it. We've
Right.
adopted it, we gotta do it, and we've done it. And I don't think it's simpler for the man in the street to understand. That was the intent. But presenting the assets, bringing them on, and then now you have to present, and you knew this was coming, you have to present the liabilities. And that's healthy, I think, to show what other liabilities that in 2028 the city's going to be facing. So I don't know what your unfunded liability in your pension is, but I know that in Salem it was slipping, and so I made a recommendation to the Salem. The first mayor, one remedy is try to raise the funding for that, an appropriation order. The second mayor to roll this pension fund into the protection of the state as a means of, because the state was getting 19 and 11% return, or 19 and 13% return, and it was better than what, and really what retirement boards want to do. They want the autonomy because the state wasn't always performing as successfully as that. That's why you have an independent autonomy. So that was my recommendation for safety and protection of the retirement system. The retirement person who was advising to the board wanted to move the retirement system into a more risky position, and I voted against it, and so did one other person. And I don't know how it was resolved, but I'm conservative in terms of fund performance, and I know portfolio management. That was my specialty.
You've answered my questions. Thank you for your time. Appreciate you coming here, and you gave good answers. Thank you.
Welcome to Lowell again.
Well, this isn't my first time, you know.
You had a stint in Lowell from 1979 to 1980.
Yes.
As a system analyst.
Yes,
right?
A programmer, really. Yeah.
And there is nothing in your resume that indicates what you may have done from 80 to 83 when you went to Quincy.
I was working with my uncle, and sort of doing maintenance work in his condo, and condo building in Boston. I was unemployed, really, and taking CPA courses, CPA review courses.
Okay. So in 1983, when you went to work for the city of Quincy as a system analyst, you then became an accountant for the city of Quincy.
Acting accountant in 1990.
Was that the position that was called for, both as systems analyst and accountant?
No.
So you were a system analyst, and then you became an accountant along with it.
Right. Because
your background here clearly indicates to me that if we needed an MIA director, you would really be very qualified. Were you recruited by the former mayor of Salem to apply for this job as finance director / auditor?
No.
You applied for it?
I didn't know anybody in Salem.
That's what you applied for it?
Yes.
Okay, and they just had an election?
Later, yes.
And you were in the short end of the stick of that election, kind of?
Yes.
Okay. How long, it says 2005, 2006, how many months were you in Salem?
9.
All right,
From May 2nd.
And during that time, you led, according to your resume here, the finance team.
Yes.
Managing a $103 million budget.
Yes.
That was under this present mayor, right? The mayor who no longer...
Well, it was a split year. The first half of the year was budgeted, and then the second, because we were on not a calendar year, we're on a fiscal year basis.
Okay. You indicated that you are now a consultant for Quincy.
No.
Oh,
I'm working in Quincy for a retailer.
Oh, I see. I thought you became a
I'm not in
consultant.
municipal service now.
Oh, okay. So you're not under 1099 with the city of Quincy?
No.
So, okay, you're really out of this background business.
Right.
Okay. How did you find out about this particular opening?
I saw it on the MMA website.
Okay.
And I said, dude, that's interesting. So that's why I applied.
Tell me, you have some great ideas, I've heard them, but they really don't apply to the job of auditor.
I know.
I mean, some of your ideas, I think you'd have to be the city manager in order to implement them.
He has to implement them. That's what I do.
Well, no, as an auditor, I think clearly must know what an auditor's position is in Lowell and the planning for
Well,
government.
for example, cash reconciliation.
Yep.
I could develop the spreadsheets in Quincy for both the treasurer's office and the auditor's office. And I could implement a system in the auditor's office whereby we could communicate more with greater fluid with the treasurer's
There's an
office.
assumption here that there isn't a system. There is an assumption on your
Sure.
part that there isn't a system. Do you realize that the auditor's position is answerable to the city council as a body
Yes.
and not to the city manager?
Yes.
And have you explored at all what it would entail to be an auditor in the city of Lowell as it relates to your past experiences as an accountant versus an auditor? So you weren't an auditor too long in Salem because
Sure.
you weren't there long enough.
In title, no, I was not. But in reality, I did a lot of auditing and a lot of desk work in
Do
Quincy.
they have an auditing department?
Yes,
And do they have an auditor?
yes.
So
I
how-
provided a lot of spreadsheets, a lot of reports, a lot of
So your position as an auditor was
support.
supportive
Hmm?
because Salem has its own auditor.
Yes, and Quincy does too.
Okay. I had a number of other questions, but they were asked by my colleagues, and therefore, that would be it for me as far as I'm concerned. I had 1 minute left. You want to use my minute?
Well, I'll talk to you, I'll address the question
It's
about...
only 1 minute, though.
Okay.
All right.
Your question about the reporting to the city council, an auditor or a lot of municipal employees wear two hats. They work for two. They work for the executive body and they work for the legislative bodies. Lowell is unique in which I understand it's
Strictly legislative body.
strictly legislative.
But part of the administrative team.
Right. And it's, I think, pretty good communicator, and I'm able to communicate different ideas between parties. So I think I do well in that arena.
Thank you very much, and congratulations for being a finalist.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That's it for me.
Okay, Mr. Sproul, I don't know if you have any concluding remarks, but if you wanted to just briefly sum up, and if you think you've said it all, that's fine too, so.
I possess a sense of realism and am a practical consensus builder. I'm able to provide best management practices. I am both strategic and tactical with my expert experience in details on how to run a city from top down, from Salem, and from bottom up from Quincy. I possess the strategic thinking and tactical detail view. I understand complex governmental structure. I can work with political process, local, state, and federal governments. I'm a take charge, goal-oriented leader, willing to engage the organization on a personal and as well as a professional level. I am direct, inspirational, and clear. I'm able to express the will and influence of the elected officials in administrative, initiative, and open forums. And I have developed the ability to keep all officials comprehensively informed while staying totally detached from the political process.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.